Just a quick note on the agenda. We had something out of order, so the student representative report will be before citizens' comments. Our first item of business is accentuate the positive. Heather?
Well, good evening, board and everybody. I am Miss Lowe, Heather Lowe, the principal over here at the wonderful Talon Elementary. We've had, wow, it's spring, so it's always very busy. In the last board meeting, I was unable to attend because I had a state level meeting, but that was the same day we hosted Dia del Nino, which happens to be one of our most popular and well-attended events here at school. And I just wanted to say it was incredible and give a shout out to Mark Kraus. He's our PTA president, and he's always supporting the work that we're doing at Talent. We had over 600 families here. It was incredible. So, and then I wanted to, of course, I would be remiss if I didn't mention next week is Teacher Appreciation Week, which is a really good time to say thank you so much to teachers. Spring is crazy, and they've been working really hard. And so the teachers here at Talent are incredibly gifted, and they care about our kids, and I just love them so much and appreciate all they do. Speaking of amazing teachers, today I want to thank publicly David Ford. He's the construction teacher at the high school. He invited a couple of our classes, Mr. Gutierrez and Mr. Glickel's class, over for a little demo in the wood shop. So they got to hammer. They did get to saw. We were like, but they did a great job. And then he gave them a tour of all the CTE classrooms, which was really special. They got to go into the first we started in the greenhouse and then went into the kitchen. We went to the auto shop, went to see some art. We went out to the stadium, did a couple laps, and then we finished our little tour with lunch at the cafeteria there. And they all resoundingly, Amy would be happy to hear, they love the food. So it was great. It was really special. And just thanks to David for welcoming us. And then last but not least, it's testing season. I'm sure everybody else is going to mention that too. And testing can be daunting on students and staff, but I just want to say thank you, especially to our title and our SPED teams who are really trying to support individual kids in taking those tests and really showing what they know. So that's it from me. I'll kick it to Shauna.
Good evening, board. I'm Shauna Schleif, principal at Phoenix Elementary, and it's been a great, last few weeks on the pirate ship. I just want to dedicate tonight's accentuate to the positive to those who are taking the lead. So I'll first start off with Aubrey Carey. She's an instructional aide at our school, and a few weeks ago, or actually a few months ago, her and her daughter did a special dance at one of our assemblies. And since then, she's been taking it upon herself to teach students dance and cheer during all of our recesses. So much so that at our last assembly last Friday, we had over 50 students get up and participate in a choreographed dance to perform. And it was just really spectacular and really special. So I just want to give her a shout out for taking the lead there. We also have an instructional aide, David Alvarez, who is also a basketball coach at the high school. And so during lunch, he's created an intramural basketball league, and we've seen kids just really we had a parent call and say, hey, how do I sign my child up for basketball? She's talking about basketball and wants to join the team. And we're like, oh, you mean just intramural team? Oh, yeah. You just show up and join. So he's really taking the lead in providing some structured play on the playground. We also want to give a big shout out to the PHS cheerleaders. They came over at our PEP assembly last Friday to help encourage our students to do well during our testing season. So they taught our students the color shout dance, or the color shout cheer. So much so that then during appreciation week this week for principal appreciation, about 50 students put together a cheer. I got called out onto the field, and again, a really well performed choreographed cheer done for me. So again, just people taking the lead and putting their efforts into having activities for our kids has been really awesome. Heather shared that we also have Teacher Appreciation Week, so we're really we're excited to share our appreciation and our love for our teachers next week. And then finally, because it is assessment time, we have our classes adopting each other. So today, our kindergarten students went into our third grade classes to give them a pep talk, and they had cute little signs that said, "You're smarty pants," in order to encourage students to do their best with our state testing. So the culture and climate around our building is really fun and serious, and we're just enjoying our spring. So thank you very much. Next is Kent.
Good evening, Kent Valier, proud principal at Orchard Hill Elementary. I just have 3 items for the board this evening. As Heather and Shauna have mentioned, we're doing state testing. Orchard Hill, we're getting close to winding up. But tomorrow I'm going into classrooms to award some ice cream sandwiches to all 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. And when I sent an email about that to some 3rd grade teachers and 4th and 5th, one email that I received back from Jenny Weaver, a great 3rd grade teacher, said, "My kids have done so well and not complained once. They are amazing. I wish I was keeping them." And this is the time of year when, you know, the end is kind of close and you miss those kids that you're matriculating on to the next grade. But we've had a lot of fun with the SBAC test this year. And I'm thankful to a small group of committee called the Big Game Committee, who have designed some incentives to help support our kids. Last Wednesday was Administrative Assistance Day, district-wide. I'm very lucky to have what I think is the best team in the district. Diane Wolf and Holly Reed are very professional. And one thing I wanted to mention, you probably know a little bit about Aaron's Law that requires some safety training for K through 12. The Sexual Assault Response Team, Southern Oregon SART, or Jackson County SART, does that at all the schools. And our instructor came in the office the other day and said that she obviously was helping some kids with some safety strategies. And several of the kids, when they were asked to mention safe adults that they trusted at the building, mentioned Holly and Diane in the office. And I think that's just a testament to not only they do a great job, but the bonds and the relationship and the trust that they build with families and with students. So I wanted to make sure I mentioned them. Lastly, tomorrow is PTA bingo night at Orchard Hill. It starts at 5:30, and there will be 22 great baskets to win at bingo. So thank you very much. Catherine Holden, Talent Middle School.
Thank you, Kent. I'm the proud principal of Talent Middle School. My name is Catherine Holden. And first, we want to just recognize that we wrapped up a successful track and field season with so many students who actually broke not only personal records, but also school records. I think there was probably 7 students who did an exceptional job this year. So we're very excited about that. And I feel like we have mentioned athletics a number of times in our Accentuate the Positives, but I think that really does go out to Derek Rodman and his oversight the last 2 years as athletic director. He's really done a great job of making sure that our athletic program is very inclusive and includes a lot of students. So it's been a really, really big success the last couple years. This week, we also wanted to publicly thank Sergeant Lehman and the whole Phoenix and Talent Police Departments. We had 2 different safety drills this week, including a lockout drill today. And while these drills are not always fun to do, it always feels good when we do them well and feel like we're prepared and we have a plan in place for when we do need to think about those things. And Sergeant Lehman really does always go above and beyond to ensure that our campus and our students are safe. So we're very, very, very grateful for his support. Also, whoops, I just moved it. Whoa, where is it? Okay. And now I want to say that we want to highlight the work that our school counselor, Liz Fletcher, has been doing to support our Student of the Month program. So we had put this in place last year, but Liz Fletcher kind of has taken it to a new level this year in her role. She's created themes. So each month we have a theme that we're really looking for in our Student of the Months. And in partnership with the Bear Creek Valley Rotary Club, she's working with our staff to select 4 students to be honored. She's also expanded this. So instead of just doing a 6th, a 7th, and an 8th, we also are including one of our students from our TLC program as our 4th student. And that feels like a really important thing to do. And so each month there's the special luncheon and the award ceremony. So we want to thank Liz for all her work on this program and for Bear Creek Valley Rotary. And then this is kind of spontaneous. Denise, sorry, I'll have to send you the notes on this one, but we were pulling some data on referrals and behavior support and discipline. And I just want to kind of a shout out to all the efforts the last couple years. Allison Haas in particular, the assistant principal, she pulled data from this time of year last year. We had right around 1,000 referrals, which is a lot. This year, a year later, we have about 500 referrals. So same time of year, about half as many referrals, as well as today I was looking at a survey. This is very, very loose data, but some survey data where a teacher had referenced that typically prior to the 2022 school year, it was typical to have somewhere in the school of 2,000 referrals in a year. So just kind of looking at those numbers and the trend over time. Again, that doesn't capture every single behavior that happens at Talent Middle School every day, but it is a data point to show that I think our efforts and really trying to teach students expectations and create a calm, comfortable environment has been paying off, and seeing that data point from April of last year to April of this year felt really encouraging. So thank you all so much. And now I'll turn it over to Kaylin.
Thank you. Kaylin Cross, proud principal of the high school pirate ship. We have a lot of really great things going on in spring, like everyone else. One thing I wanted to make sure I invite you all to is our FFA is putting on a plant sale the weekend of May 10th. They've been working really hard to grow wonderful, not only garden starters, but also house plants and other plants. So we would really encourage you to come by and see what great work they've been doing in the greenhouse and beyond. Also, speaking of dances, we have prom this weekend, and I want to shout out to our student leadership and their advisor, Lisa Robin, who have spent a lot of time making sure that event is classy and well attended. Also, our student management and our assistant principal, Erica Ochoa, to make sure that students who are enjoying that have also gotten their pirate points and are headed towards graduation and are able to be safe that night. So we're really excited about that. You might have seen on social media, we did have our Decision Day celebration yesterday. So I want to shout out to our Future Planning Center and our counselors and our partners through Project Youth Plus and Trio, who put on an amazing just lunchtime activity. We were able to give several raffle prizes and just celebrate with students on their next steps. So not only students who are going to college or university, but also students who are enlisting in the military, who are going into the workforce and into trade schools. And so it was just a wonderful time of celebration. Speaking of celebration, I'm not going to release names, but I do want you to know that PHS has 2 Ford Scholars again this year, which is wonderful. We had several other finalists, which is also a great honor. So as those that news rolls out, we'll give you some more details on that. Another great thing is that we did have 212 students make honor roll during 3rd quarter. And out of those 212 honor roll students, we had 99 students who earned a 4.0 GPA for the quarter, which is a huge celebration and a testament not only to students and staff, but also to families in our community for supporting our students. So lots of other things probably coming from the students, but I'll leave that for later. And now, Erin, you're welcome.
Good morning, board and others. Evening. Good to be here. Aaron Santi, Phoenix Talent Rising Academy. First off, I don't know if you guys knew this, but yesterday was, I just found this out yesterday too, was National Principals Day. So my staff wanted me to say that they have the best principal in the district. And I said, I can't say that to the board, but they insisted, so I'm not taking credit for that. Other folks have mentioned that we're deep into state testing, and our participation rate this year is almost double what it's been the last 2 years. So I want to say thank you to the parents, particularly in our program, that are getting their kids testing. Our STEAM classes, we have STEAM each Friday I've spoken to you guys about. Our STEAM classes just finished 2 weeks of Earth Day projects. Looking forward to Art in the Park and Mother's Day project coming up. And finally, as you guys know, next week is Teacher Appreciation Week, and so we are planning to celebrate our teachers next week along with the rest of the district. So that is it from PTRA. Amy.
Good evening, Amy Hunts here, proud manager of the food service program. And mostly just going to kind of echo some of the things that everybody else is saying, and just calling out how food service here, tomorrow's Lunch Hero Day. And what the best part of being the lunch heroes for us is really the kids. So Heather bringing, some of those kids down to the high school today and getting to see them try to serve in our big, huge cafeteria, and, we're handing down the hamburgers because the slide might be up too high. Um, Getting to join in the field days or doing the honor roll cookies with the high school and just seeing the excitement is really what makes Lunch Hero Day special for us. And then I have to thank John for helping me make this recipe book that you guys hopefully all have in front of you come to actual physical life. I had a PDF, but he helped make it happen and, put this nice spiral book together that we got to hand out to all of the participants, and just seeing their excitement for this extra little piece to take home and continue to keep up their future chef dreams. Thank you.
Thanks, Amy. Tiffany Lambert, Teaching and Learning. Thank you, board. May is National Speech, Language, and Hearing Month. So I wanted to take an opportunity to thank our speech language pathology team. Many people don't realize all the work they do besides articulation and language. They also do our swallowing protocols for our medically fragile students, our hearing screenings, and a lot of other things. So I want to thank our SLPAs, Jillian Shaneholtz and Kevin Wheeler, and our SLPs, Jacqueline Fortner, Carmen Edwards Henry, and Jody Correpta. And thank you to our principals. Yesterday was Principal Appreciation Day. May is full of appreciation. And then next week, as mentioned before, is Teacher Appreciation. But I want to mention a specific teacher, Chelsea Winner, in our transition program for our 18 to 21-year-old students. She's in the house. She's the only teacher there. If the board remembers, several years ago, not that long ago, we started our own program after contracting with Ashland for many years. And we were wondering about the popularity. And now we have so many students in their own community getting those transition services that we actually have to take out one of the walls in the transition house to make room for them all next year. So we're pretty excited about that. And I want to thank Chelsea for really growing that program from the ground up. Thank you.
Thank you all so much. Anything from the board tonight? Okay, we will move on to the student representative report.
Nice to be back with you guys. This is work. All right. Well, first thing I want to talk about was the NSBA conference that I had the pleasure to go to with Nancy, Louisiana, and we were able to attend the Rural School Conference, and it was led by Shanika Williams, who introduced the subject, and she introduced a couple questions. Let me name a couple. Her first question was how to navigate diversity in rural communities and just building community in a small school. And she followed that up with a question talking about how are we going to keep our decision makers diverse. And that was something to think about. And she also talked about how can rural schools stand alone without suburbans. And after that, she moved on to talk about successes, talking about how rural schools do have higher graduation rates and how COVID gave us the opportunity to face the challenges that were already there. She talked about that. And she moved to something called the paradox of rural schools, which I thought was really interesting, which is basically talking about how as we're trying to build this community in rural schools, it's always really hard to, when people are leaving the community, the people that are making that community not great, but the people that are building up that community always end up leaving, which is why it's always hard to build community. So trying to give them a reason why to stay and just be a part of that community for longer was a big topic that she talked about. And after that, a professor came in and talked about Native Americans and how we teach the subject of Native tribes and how he thought it should be expanded more in everyday curriculum in school, because research shows that it hasn't been taught enough, and it really should. After that, we were able to attend an amazing conference with Ruby Bridges as a keynote speaker, and she talked about her opinions on educations currently, which I thought that was amazing. And she talked about how can you think past certifications of teachers and just think about more relevant ways of teaching education that would last with the child longer. And besides that, we were able to just tour around New Orleans with Nancy, and that was fun. We had a lot of food. We had a lot of sightseeing. We were very tired at the end of it, but it was amazing. We came back, and I then had the opportunity to go to international conference for DECA, which was hosted in Anaheim this year. And a lot of people like AJ, Bentley, Becker, and then me, Seneca Eichmeyer, and David Ariano were able to compete at this conference, and that was a big learning experience for us. And then a lot of people went to camps called Thriving Night and Aspire, which were conferences held by DECA at the national level, and those were amazing. We were able to pin trade and have state officer meetings for me personally, and just being able to connect with a lot of other people at the national level for something we all love was amazing, and it was very encouraging, and we're very excited to start preparing for next year's DECA. And do you guys have any questions about any of that?
Sorry, I'm going to ask you to share what your takeaway was from the Rural Schools Conference. What did you remember what you shared with me on the phone about people like you?
Oh, do I remember? Do I remember? Give me 1 second. I don't.
How you felt, this is what I heard you say, was that you saw other people that look like you and how you can come back here and encourage those who look like you in our school system.
I did say that. Yes.
Yeah.
I am excited to say. I did say that.
I'm calling you out. So you have to know that we don't usually have, I love that you're all here. It's very important that you're here. And we don't usually have this many people, so it's hard for me to call him on the spot. But I'm very proud of Javi and all the things he's been doing. So
I was just going to say, I said this last time, but Javi wasn't here. He did an amazing job. He did not mention that he was in the student panel. There was 4 students that represented nationwide, and Javi was one of the 4. He did an amazing job. He spoke at the panel at the Rural Schools part of the convention, and then the next day he spoke at the panel, like a packed room panel. Yeah, standing room only the second day, and he did an amazing job. And I just want to give him kudos of how well he did. And he has a great passion for this. And I know me and the rest of the board really want to support the students' passions on this. And great job, Javi. You did amazing.
Muchas gracias, corazón. Fue un orgullo para mí estar ahí contigo, apoyándote. It was really, truly an honor to be with Javier at this National School Board Conference and to really see him just shine and represent this school so beautifully. And something that was, I had the distinct privilege of watching him and cheering him on, but something that was really beautiful is he really talked about in broad ways how systemically our community is, right? We have teachers, we have the people who made this possibility for him to even attend this conference happen. He talked about the various community relationships that we have that come into schools. In this conference, there was a lot of discussion around what makes rural schools unique, and really schools become the central focal point of a community. And he really did a beautiful job expressing gratitude, but it was so much more beyond that gratitude. It was that acknowledgement that it takes really a village to make all of these systems work. He talked about teachers. He spoke specifically about wonderful teachers that have mentored him and have supported him. He talked about Celine Fairmont so much. He talked about Project Youth Plus. He talked about food. He talked about sports. He talked about like the different resources, the mental health supports that come in. And I think that that gave other folks this picture of what it takes to support students through a variety of different ways, right? And the other piece, as Javier mentioned, is he really highlighted the value of having diverse voices at the table. Sometimes we only have a certain group represented, and how valuable that is, because that representation is really important, not just for him, but for other students. And if somebody can look like him, then that can be inspiring for other people to achieve and just dream broadly. So Javier did a really, really lovely job, but it really did take a community to make that happen. And so many people were really impressed on what he shared. But also, it was a really sweet opportunity for students to come together and really support one another. Like they were fast friends, these 5 youths. We had dinner with them, we did all kinds of fun things with them. But most importantly, they really celebrated each other, which I thought was really beautiful.
Thank you. I also wanted to add in, after talking to a lot of other districts and a lot of other people from there, I want to say that I'm very proud of this district and how good we are doing as a rural school. And I do think that we have a lot of opportunities to be thankful for that we do overlook sometimes after being here for a lot of years. So I do want to appreciate that and just thank you guys for that.
Well, that's kind of hard to follow. But I guess there's prom coming up, but I specifically wanted to talk about dress closet that Miss Campbell runs. I think it's really awesome because not everyone can afford a dress, but it is a formal event, and you don't always want to go to Goodwill or something and just settle for the next best option. And then Ms. Watt actually washed a lot of people's dresses for them because there's special procedures you have to go through to make sure the fabric is handled right. So I just thought that was really great on the part of our staff. And then the Spirit Week has had a lot of participation and friendly competition, which I thought was great. And next Wednesday on May 8th, National Honor Society students, myself included, we're going to be inducted in the library at 6 p.m. So you have to maintain, I think it's a 3.5 and above to be inducted. So that's really awesome for and there's a lot more students this year than last year, which I think is something to look at. May 8th at 6. I don't have the list, but I know last year was like probably 10, and this year there's more.
Great job, both of you. Thank you. Okay, we will now move to public comments. Each person is allotted up to 3 minutes to speak with a 30-minute time limit allocated for all comments this evening. As a reminder, meetings of the board of directors are meetings in the public, not with the public. Therefore, please do not expect the board to engage in a conversation with you or answer questions at this time. Our role during this portion of the meeting is to listen. When called, please come forward and state your name, address, and identify the organization, if any, that you represent. If joining virtually, please use the raise hand feature to indicate your desire to speak. Please respect the 3-minute time limit and keep in mind that complaints about staff members cannot be discussed in open session and must be handled through a complaint procedure. And I do understand that we have received a lot of interest to speak before the board within the last couple days. And I do apologize if we're not able to get to everyone in the time allotted today. With that in mind, please know that we have scheduled a special meeting for a listening session on May 16th, 2024 at 5 p.m. right here at Tallahassee to allow for additional comment. Additionally, any written comments that have been submitted have been captured and shared with the board and will be part of the public record. Thank you, Denise, for getting those to us. And so I would just say to that, if you have submitted a written comment and you'd like to make space for those who haven't already and would like to speak tonight, as I call you, you're welcome to just wave it off. If you'd still like to speak, you're more than welcome to, but we will allow 30 minutes total tonight. With that in mind, I have a list here, and we always love to hear from our students first. So we will call Leo Wong.
My name is Leo, and I'm a resident of the district. I'm a student. And I love ODP because it has lots of space and Legos, and it is a great place to come together. and it has a place where we can play in the garden and be outside.
Thank you, Leah. Laura Latham.
Hello, Phoenix Talent School Board, Superintendent Barry, community members and administrators. My name is Laura Latham, and I am the president of the Phoenix Talent Education Association, which is the licensed staff union representing almost 150 educators in this district. I'm here today to speak to you in support of the ODP program. ODP offers our students a unique opportunity and a unique learning environment that is different than the traditional classroom. This program has thrived the last 16 years with the support of our community as well as many staff members. PTEA is very concerned about the relocation of the ODP program and how the decision is being made without collaboration from impacted stakeholders and over the objection of our parent group and PTEA members. Displacing Phoenix Talent students over the objection of the Phoenix Talent School District's tax-paying parents as well as the employees of the district in order to bring in an outside private entity is not in the spirit of the collaboration the district espouses as one of their values. This decision has been made in a way that's denied stakeholders an opportunity to have their voices meaningfully heard until now and considered. PTEA believes that it's crucial for our community and our educators to partner together to build a strong foundation for our students to thrive. We ask that the district honor this partnership with the respect and care of engaging fully and transparently with the stakeholders that this relocation affects.
Thank you. Nicholas Accord.
I'm Nicholas Acord. I live up Anderson Creek. I have 3 kids in the district. My son's at the high school, daughter at the middle school, and my youngest is at ODP. I'm also a Pirate alumni, along with all my siblings, my cousins, my nieces, my nephews, so I'm a Pirate all the way. My biggest frustration is with the haste with which this decision has been made without any regard to those of us who are a part of it. My niece was one of the first students to be enrolled at ODP 16 years ago. I'm deeply invested in the history of this program, and yet a decision has been made that we all just found out about 1 week ago, and we're told everything's going to change now. We also have not been told what the practical reasons are, not in any sort of clear messaging, and we're left wondering why. Does it simply have to do with our ADA getting more kids into the district? I get it. I'm a school teacher. I'm part of the educational program as well. I understand we got to make money, but there's something else going on, apparently. Is it that we really need this preschool? Is it really going to serve a need in the community? I don't know. Or is there something else going on? Is there simply a lack of support for models that don't fit into the traditional method? And that's how we're starting to feel as an organization and as a group of parents. We're also wondering if this decision is being made by the school board as a community or simply by a few select number of people. And we're wondering why decisions have already gone forward with the YMCA, which apparently happened before any of us even knew it was happening. We'd like to request some time. Decisions can't be made this quickly. This is not how things work in a healthy, functioning district from people who care about their constituents. Please give us time and hear us out, and let's talk through it. Thank you.
Thank you. Aluna Wong.
Hi, board. Thank you for hearing us tonight. My name is Aluna Huang. I live at 225 West Stop Road. I'm a resident. I'm a parent of a Leo Huang, a student at ODP. And I just want to say that, you know, I have sat in a room with Superintendent Barry, and I have found him to be a thoughtful and engaged administrator, but person, and I would love to continue working with you. The other night, we asked several questions, and the one definitive response that I thought we heard was that this decision, having been made without our input, agreement, or even awareness, was final. And I, for one, was shocked, not just by the suddenness, the magnitude, and the timeliness, the timeline of the news, but also by the fact that, you know, input from staff and families hadn't been solicited. It seemed out of character with what I know both of Superintendent Barry and the district. So perhaps my shock is understandable, and perhaps my dismay is not. Perhaps it was thought that it would be simple to just transplant the ODP program one block over. But I don't feel that way. And perhaps it only is because I've been a part of this amazing community for almost 4 years. You know, as another parent was saying just before the meeting, the uniqueness of the ODP experiences is something that is not easy to convey. It's not even something that I really understood until, you know, when I signed up for the program, when I signed my son up for the program. It was only after having been there and in the space with other kids and with other parents, and, you know, seeing how everybody interacted in the community space, in the outdoor space, on the playground, and, you know, and just organically being able to have a home there, and to understand that, you know, this is something that has been cultivated for 16 years. It's been a labor of love, and that's a legacy that can't just so simply be transplanted, and especially so quickly. And that's why there's been, I think, such an outpouring of support and concern around this issue. I think that it's also been, it's not just the timeline, but it's also been the fact that we were not solicited, and also that it hasn't been made clear what the steps or the resources, if there's a plan or resources to help us with this move either. So I hope I was mistaken. I hope that we can still work together with the superintendent, with the board, to find a resolution to this situation that is good for everyone. But it will take time. So I thank you for taking the time to hear me tonight. And I am, you know, happy to work with all of you towards something. Thank you.
Thank you. Sarah Mosser.
Hello, I'm Sarah Mosser. I am a resident of Medford, actually, and I am one of the folks that have transferred their kids. I have 2 girls that go to ODP. I specifically transferred my daughters out of the Medford School District in order to join the ODP program. So it's very important to me and the experience that I provide my daughters. You're going to hear a lot of very passionate and important appeal to you this evening, but I'll take my time just to do 2 things. I'd like to just take a moment for everyone in the room that is an ODP supporter, a stakeholder in this, past, present, and our future is there in the past and behind you. But if you'll just take a moment to raise your hands and be recognized. Thanks so much. And what I really wanted to touch upon with my time is the emotional toll, actually, of being here. We were informed only 48 hours ago that something that is deeply important to us, where our kids go every single day, and the community that is intrinsic to the ODP program, is going to be changed beyond what it currently looks like. Our family is going to be changed. And we all had to stop what we're doing in our regular lives to show up here because it's important to us. But that emotional toll, you can hear it in my voice, it's huge. We have full-time jobs. I have 2 jobs. I'm a single parent to these 2 girls. We have to stop what we're doing in our normal lives to show up to speak with you and to ask you. What I'm asking you is to actually pause this process, what Aluna was talking about, the process is obviously moving way too fast. We would like at least a year for ODP to remain where it is, because not only you can see what we've had to do in the last 48 hours in order to uproot our lives, where you know, I'm not watching my girls at gymnastics tonight, I'm here talking to you. This is the type of trauma that we're going to have to face when we have to suddenly decide what we're doing with our kids next year. This is just weeks from summer. We're ready to, you know, not be thinking about this right now, and we're having to decide, wow, what are our kids going to be doing in just a few short months? And I really don't think that's fair. I was concerned when Brent stated that this decision to move the school was not made lightly, yet he also said that it was just made 30 days ago. That seems like a pretty whimsical decision to me. It makes me wonder, does the school district not have a strategic plan that we're moving forward incrementally to implement what the strategy is? This doesn't seem in line. This is too quick. Please slow down the process and allow ODP and its students to remain.
Thank you. Paul Lowry.
Hi, my name is, that's weird here. My name is Paul Lowry. I live on Holton Road. I have 2 kids here at TS, one at the main school in the Spanish dual language program, and one at ODP. I like both programs, to be completely honest with you. I could not imagine my older kid who is here at TS being at ODP. It wouldn't really fit him. But I really couldn't imagine my younger kid necessarily being at this school. I think it would fit in fine, but ODP does seem to fit him. There's 2 different programs for 2 different types of kids. And trying to assimilate those programs without a plan, without any input from the parents and the stakeholders of ODP, I feel is wrong. I feel like we need time. And now that there's an ad up on the Facebook page of YMCA for this preschool, I'm asking to hold that off until at least the May 16th meeting so that you can hear more input and we can actually hear input from you. I don't want that meeting to just be lip service. We don't mean it to be, oh, we heard you and choose you. Please put that on ice. Give us time, hear us out. The other thing I would like to say is, when I went to the meeting on Tuesday to hear Brent, some of the other parents at ODP had asked us to sign a petition. I did not sign that, and the reason I didn't is I didn't know the story. I didn't know the reason why. I said, oh, maybe it is for a preschool. Maybe it is for a preschool for Phoenix Talent folks who cannot afford preschool, something that is provided for the good of our community and our school district. I do not feel that a $1,500 a month preschool that's run by an outside entity is really going to benefit our community, especially not using publicly owned resources such as that building and land over there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dalia Longo. And if I mispronounce your name, please correct me. Names are important to us. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Julia Longo. I am a resident of the Talent Phoenix School District. I'm here to speak for my children, my family, as well as the ODP community, whom I ever so proudly serve as one of the PAC leaders. First of all, I want to thank the entire school board today and always for all your dedicated service to the community. We really appreciate your time, and we'll try to make this short. The ODP community is under utter distress and panic at learning so suddenly of the intention of the superintendent to move the ODP classroom on the TES campus without any specific plans on how to accommodate this elaborate outdoor project-based program and the entire community of parents and educators that make this happen. I know that our family have expressed what ODP and a sudden move would mean to them in the comment that they submitted for this meeting. I understand it's over 50 comments, and this is unprecedented. So this speaks really loud. please listen to what a community of already traumatized children by the upheaval of recent years has to say. We consider ODP home. And for many ODP children, this is the only stability that they have in their life. We feel strongly that moving ODP so abruptly would not only be incredibly detrimental to our community, but also impact the program severely, and most certainly the TES community as well. I asked the school board that the ODP program and community not be uprooted so suddenly and from its historic home, which we as parent and community have invested so much and make this unique, successful program and community possible. I ask that we pause and take time to honor the process. At ODP, we are committed to continue to address, together with the district and the school board, the challenges ahead of us and participate together in finding comprehensive solutions that work for everybody to these problems.
Thank you, Julia. Vanessa Cavani.
Hi, I was displaced after the fire. We lost our home. And it was 2 years of, rentals and trying to find places with at first a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Anyway, everyone has stories from that time. I didn't expect to get emotional. I'm tired of the curveballs, man. This was a shock. This was a huge shock to us on Tuesday. And I'm having that feeling again of, oh my God, this is such a big change. And I just want to say I'm a new kind of a new parent at ODP, and I didn't get it. There were some things about the program that I knew I wanted. I knew I wanted my girls to be there. And I didn't totally understand what that would look like. It's very hard to describe why the space is important. I have total sympathy, and I said this to Brent on Tuesday, for anyone who is not part of the program or hasn't experienced it. Why this can't, it's just a place. Why can't it just be moved into a new location with some of the same features? And the reason, one of the many reasons is that the parent, the presence of parents, and the kids seeing the parents interact with each other constantly. I mean, before school, during school, when we have our special electives with the parents, or parents just coming by and helping with stuff, and after school, the parents hanging around, the kids playing, the parents talking to each other, arranging play dates, organizing for the school. This is the kind of parent, you all know more than I do how beneficial parent involvement in a child's school is. You have a program here that has to have one of the highest levels of parent buy-in and parent support. I mean, we are all so connected, and so many of the parents have come so close. That cannot be replicated over there simply because of the entry and exit procedures. It's not like we're going to get a separate gate and a separate space that's just ours. There won't be as much room. There won't be as much light. We won't have our own. We won't have our pollinator garden. We won't have the interaction between all of the different grade levels. The space is part of the experience, but I just want to mainly emphasize the parent presence and interaction on the daily is just something I don't think is common at all, and is so special, and that's why we're so devastated. We will lose that, and it will be a much colder experience, and it is one that a lot of parents expressed on Tuesday they're not interested in participating in. And so that's another thing. You're going to lose money in the district because there will be parents who will leave if we have to move to a smaller, different space. Please hear us. Thank you.
Thank you. Cy Elder.
Hello, I am Sai Elder. I am a student at Talent Middle School. And I spent all 6 of my elementary years at ODP. And if in a second, I would relive those years because they were the happiest of my life. I felt safe. I learned how to be compassionate, and how to be kind, how to be confident because I knew these people and I knew that they would trust me and I knew they would care. And I learned how to respect nature and everything it's done. And there was support after the fire for people. They donated, they gave money. I remember getting meals, I believe. Yeah, I was given plushies, and that did a lot to comfort me. And I the idea of having to move to the yeah, the idea of the building having to move to the US would be different because it's so much more than just 2 classrooms. It is 2 classrooms, 2 large classrooms, a community room, a garden, a playground. It's got its own bathroom, storage rooms. There's a whole place for cubbies, and even more so the community, the friendship where you could just trust everyone because you know that these people who you've known for years and whatever, even if they're not in your grade or anything, you could trust them. And the trust is very important. And also, it might make other students like feel worse, like it might alienate other students because they watch as the kids in ODP get to go out and do these fun things, and it would also break the community because there wouldn't be those spaces for parents to talk to each other and kids to hang out, and you wouldn't be able to run up at the sites after school, and it's just different. That building stores some of my happiest memories, and yeah, it just please don't take away the building. Please let us stay. There are other places. We can wait until there's a new place. There are other solutions. There is so much more. And some child in the future may need a happy place where they can have friends, and they might have trouble making friends. And they might need the community that ODP has created, the safe space. It's a community in a building, and I don't think it could be replicated. There's just something special. Thank you for listening and considering me.
Thank you, Sai. And thank you for your patience. If I had known we had a student way down there, I would have had you go after Leo. Thank you. Jessica Ward.
Good evening. My name is Jessica Ward. I am a resident of Talent. Actually live right over there. I have 2 sons in the district. Well, 1 son in the district, 1 coming to kinder next year. I'd like to start off with a nod of appreciation to the board for serving on our school board to help make Phoenix Talent Schools a group of exceptional schools. The Phoenix Talent community is unique in this valley. It's made up of these small hamlets, but has a history of caring, leadership, and heart that belies our small footprint. And it's in the spirit of community, heart, and caring that I appeal to the board today. On Tuesday of this week, the community members of the Outdoor Discovery Program, parents, and staff were informed of the district's decision to evict the program from its current location to make space for a new preschool. While I will not debate the need for increased preschool opportunities in this community, displacing a long-standing district program to make way for an outside organization feels like a careless mismanagement of resources. The building that currently houses the Outdoor Discovery Program is more than just 4 walls. It's a home. And like a home, the space has evolved to perfectly meet the needs of our program. We have the space we need for our big, messy projects. We have a playground to flex our schedule to accommodate field studies and guest speakers without disrupting the learning of other classes. We have a garden space to run and room to run electives. We have room for both classes to work together and a gathering space to meet for a weekly parent-led sing-along. We describe ourselves as a 2-room, 1-room schoolhouse, which captures the cozy and intimate feel of our campus. From its grassroots inception, this program has been founded on parent support and collaboration. Our building is a reflection of that collaboration. The pollinator garden, cob bench, brick patio, greenhouse, and spiderweb play structures, or I'm sorry, just the one structure, were all projects that were funded by grants and assembled by students, parents, and community partners. We have windows, a pergola, and picnic tables that were all donated and installed and or built by parents. The pergola is decorated with tiles that were made by students with the help of a resident artist and depict habitats around Southern Oregon. Our sign was commissioned by one of the founding parents and recently restored by current parents. The Zelkova tree was planted in a community ceremony the year ODP was originated. These are just some of the elements that make up the historic importance of our building. The history, so I beg the school board, yes, I do beg you, please give us more time to make a considered and thoughtful transition that honors the integrity on which this program was founded. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Chris Auer. Chris Auer.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for your service. My name's Chris Auer, and I'm at 202 South First Street in Talent. I've lived in Talent for 16 years. I'm a former Talent City Councilor, Planning Parks Budget Committee member, also a business owner, a mental health counselor, and former educator. I have 2 children, 13 and 10, the younger of whom is currently attending 4th grade at ODP, where she has been since 1st grade. All of this to say that I've been around, I've been involved, and I understand administration and budgets. I was stunned to learn only 3 nights ago, and not from the school, by the way, that my daughter Genevieve will no longer attend ODP in the fall, as she has known it for the last 3.5 years. Superintendent Berry confirmed in our meeting together that the decision had been made and that he is either unwilling or unable to alter course. He was asked many specific questions, most of which did not receive any concrete answers. This decision is hasty, it's disrespectful and outright harmful to all of us families, including and especially our children. Children who, along with us, have suffered through the pandemic, from which we are all still recovering. Some of our families were displaced by the fire, as you've heard, and many of us also carry trauma from that event. School is a second home for many children and a first home for some. A forced sudden relocation is the worst possible decision I could imagine, short of an outright shutdown of the program. But really, what's the difference? Budget modifications to pre-existing standard campus classrooms strip ODP of everything that makes it distinct. Effectively, this decision is getting the heart of ODP of everything that makes it what it is and transforming it into something that no one wants. I'm angry, I'm shocked, I feel betrayed by whoever was involved in this terrible, disempowering decision and process. I think it's unacceptable. I, with my fellow parents and the teachers who also have been misled and disregarded, stand against this decision for as long as there are actionable steps that we can take. Tonight, I'm asking you all to do your duty of serving our public interest and put a quick end to what could otherwise become a long, drawn-out conflict. Please vote to reverse this decision, or if for some reason this is not possible, I would ask that you vote to delay the decision for further study and planning with parents as key stakeholders. The preschool problem should not be addressed by hurting other children. There are absolutely other alternatives, and there's no need for ODP to move. The district needs to come up with a better plan that works for everyone and for the good of our community. Please make it happen. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. We are at 30 minutes. I have one more speaker. Ted Hilton Walker.
My name is Ted Hilton Walker. I live in Talent at 1724 Lithia Way, chair of the Talent Parks and Recreation Commission. I'm also a speech language pathologist, formerly of Phoenix Talent School District. I'm a parent of Chet in the 2nd grade at ODP. I'm also a parent of Willa, who is a student at the Phoenix Elementary STEAM program, which no longer exists. It was an experiential, parent-involved program that was marginalized by decisions made by the administration to the point that it no longer exists. I hear Mr. Berry in his words that he values the model of ODP. I also know that past actions have ended previous experiential learning programs. I think that actions speak louder than words. When Willa died in 2020, the school asked me if there was a way that they could honor her there. And I do appreciate the rock garden at PES. But I sincerely wish that the STEAM program was a legacy that could remember her. I'm extremely bothered by the haste with which this decision was made, and I hope that it will be reconsidered. Thank you.
Thank you all. I did not anticipate being able to get through all of those in 30 minutes. Well done. Okay, we will now move to the superintendent report. Mr. Berry?
Thank you, Chair Campbell. I just want to start by recognizing, I know it's not easy to come and talk to the school board, and I just want to share my admiration for the people that spoke, the students and the families, because you could see and hear the emotion, and I know that's not easy. So I just want to recognize that. I just want to share a little bit, and some of it was highlighted earlier. National Principals Day was yesterday, and just really appreciate the leadership in our buildings. Being a principal is sometimes a lonely job, and especially at the elementaries when there's really just one administrator. And just thank you so much for your leadership. As mentioned, next week we get to celebrate our teachers in our buildings, and we're really looking forward to honor them and sharing our love and some gifts from the board to the teachers. I do want to just come back to the students as well. Javier, just how amazing the experiences have been that you've been able to take part in. And thank you so much for just, I know your family and is proud too. So representing you and your family, but your also school family is super proud of you. Aubrey, I mean, you may not know this, but you are doing a great job recruiting kids and families. I have spoke to a few of them and see interdistrict transfers coming in. So I just want to thank you for your role in talking about the pirate ship and how amazing it is. So thank you. Want to highlight the Ford scholarship winners. That's 5 in 2 years. That's life-changing scholarships, by the way. And that's just amazing accomplishment. I think we can celebrate that as a district. Both those students came through K-12 in our school system. So super proud of that, and want to celebrate that as a district, and super proud of the high school for prepping those kids. We had 6 people apply, and just getting an interview to that Ford scholarship is a huge feat. So everybody can be proud of that. And I know there's some more scholarship money for those students that didn't receive the Ford scholarship. So that proud of all those kids. Last week, you may have heard that we had the annexation meeting at the City of Talent. And I appreciate that the City of Talent rescheduled that after a potentially devastating fire in the town hall. It was caught early enough, but they voted to annex that property, Culver Road, and that's been a multi-year process. And we will get with our consultants and talk to the board about what the next steps are, and really starting some development discussions about the Culver Road property. That's all I had, Chair Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Barry. Any questions? Okay. Next, we have a program report, Rogue Valley Farm to School.
I just want to thank Rogue Valley Farm to School for adjusting. We had them actually on to present when we had to modify a school board meeting last month and switch a day. And so they were flexible enough to come tonight and share, and really just appreciate the partnership, and looking forward to what they have to share. You'll be excited.
Okay. I never know kind of the logistics here. Like, do I face you or do I face there? Okay. Feels funny to have my back to all of you all, but I guess that's how we. Okay. Okay. So all you people, there's actually slides there, so it's a little awkward. All right, actually, you're gonna.
Hi everyone, I'm Abigail Blinn. I'm the procurement and nutrition manager for Rogue Valley Farm to School. I work particularly with cafeteria programs in Jackson and Josephine County. And we're here to talk about our program in the cafeterias, as well as our Digging Deeper partnership program in our school gardens.
Thank you. I'm Rebecca Schlossberg, and I'm the co-executive director of Rogue Valley Farm to School. And yeah, we partner with both the Phoenix Talent School District and Central Point School District. So I just want to talk a little bit about what we all do. How do I forward those slides? Oh, you're doing it for me. You're doing it. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So the Rogue Valley, the school Digging Deeper School Partnership kind of came together. We were doing lots of different pieces for different schools around the valley. And what we realized is we wanted a greater, deeper impact in schools. And we wanted to be able to see kind of all the pieces that we're doing at each school. So we currently, as I said, have this Digging Deeper School Partnership with Phoenix Talent School District and also with Central Point School District. So we have some themes that we think about in our partnership. We have been around for a while. It's actually our 15th year, but after when school shut down during the pandemic and then we had the fire, we kind of went back and rethought about what was really important, what were those values that we want to represent and what's important to us. And so some of those themes, empathy, resilience, justice, connection, gratitude, community, inclusion. So those kind of echo through our programs. So some of the pieces here of the Digging Deeper School Partnership. So one of those is the Harvest Meal Field Trip. I think one of you, not to point you out, Rebecca, but I think at least one of you has had a kid that has been part of this program. So it's often a highlight for the students in the program. They get to go on a farm field trip. They do this in the fall and in the spring, and they get a chance to go out in the field. They harvest the crops that they're going to use for their meal. Then they get to have a kitchen station where they cook what they harvested. Depending on which farm they go to, we go to SOU, farm at SOU, and Hanley Farm in Central Point. At SOU, they have different activities, and at Hanley, it's often focused on the sheep. And so then they sit down at the end and they get to share a meal together and learn from each other about what they all did to help bring that meal and get to have that farm fresh meal on their field trip. Oh, the other piece is to support the classroom teachers. We know that classroom teachers have a lot on their plates, and so this program, we really try to have it be supportive and not just one more thing for the teachers to do. So we try to have the program out in the garden reflect what the standards are for what's happening in the classroom and to bring some of those things from the classroom, from the garden back into the classroom. So we have professional learning opportunities for our partner teachers quarterly during the school year. And then the core parts of this program is the weekly garden classes. So at each school, we have a grade level or grade levels that are our partner classes. So here at Talent Elementary School, we work with 3rd grade and the ODP, which is 3rd, 4th, 5th. And so those students get to come out weekly to the garden. They're out for 50, 55 minutes out in the garden. And the weekly garden classes are a chance to do all kinds of things, not just gardening. We also do cooking and learning some of those life skills, but it's also really a chance to build relationships, to have different kinds of relationships with each other by working together in the garden, different type of relationship with your teacher when you're out in the garden. And we found a lot of those social, emotional learning opportunities in the garden are really important. And especially after the fire, as we had students coming back to school, we found that being in the garden was a really healing space for students. And kind of unexpectedly, it's also really healing for the teachers. We hear from a lot of teachers how they enjoy that moment of getting to go out into the garden and to relate with their students differently and to be outside, and all the benefits that we see for the students as also influence the teachers. And we've also done summer school. We didn't this last summer, but the 2 summers prior to that, we partnered with the district for summer school, and we had students at Phoenix during summer school get to go out to the garden at that elementary school, and then also once a week to go out on a farm field trip. So we're hoping this summer to bring back some of those farm and garden programs as part of summer school. All right, I'm going to pass it to Abigail.
And one program that kind of merges our education programming and procurement and cafeteria work is our tasting table program. So each month we highlight a new seasonal item in the cafeterias that the students get to try. You can see radishes. That's our May item for this month. Next week, yes, thank you, Amy. So we'll have tastings going around the cafeteria, and all the grades or all elementary school grades will get to try those. And they're all sourced from different local farms. And oh yeah, the May is for radishes. So we have, yep, there you go. We also send these, kind of hard to see there, but these interactive newsletters where there are recipes and different information about nutrition information about radishes. I'm a registered dietitian, so I like to share a lot of things that I know on there. As well as our awesome garden educators and lessons around different seasonal items. So that's an example. And you get those in your family newsletters each. Yeah, great. Yeah, so beyond what we're doing in the cafeterias, Rogue Valley Farm to School advocates on a state level to get more state dollars to the cafeterias in Oregon. So there's a local purchasing program called the Farm to Child Nutrition Program, and there's grant funds. Jackson and Josephine County get about $300,000 throughout both counties for all the school districts to be able to purchase from local farms. Right now, Phoenix Talent School District is supporting Fry Family Farm, Namas Pears, and probably a few others. And we're working with the cafeterias to grow and support that program. We also put together a weekly availability list that lists all the items from different farms. We have 20 participating farms and producers throughout our area, and as well as like the state of Oregon. And again, we do our Harvest of the Month program where we're highlighting a different item. And we also provide technical assistance to those producers in finding different outlets for their product to go into schools and other institutions like healthcare facilities, the food bank. And yeah, we provide trainings and different standardized recipes for cafeterias to use and really like help them support this local purchasing program and continue to grow it in the state of Oregon. And Rogue Valley Farm to School stands out in the state for that reason and for our schools that are doing this program and working with this program really well. This is an example of our Harvest of the Month calendar for the year and some of our partnering farms there listed. And I'll just speak to a new program that we've been adopting with trauma-informed nutrition feeding practices. There are challenges that each kid can go through, whether it's home challenges or just things that can change in a life, like losing a school building. And there are many opportunities for a trauma-informed approach when it comes to feeding and nutrition. And we like to use a lot of our principles that we learn on field trips and in the garden and try to incorporate that into a cafeteria setting. And these are some of the principles that we've taken from Oregon State University and Spoon Organization. Putting the quality of your relationship before quality of nutrition is the main principle of trauma-informed nutrition, and there's some other ones there. We've incorporated this into our programming in different ways, but really honing in and making our programs with this trauma-informed lens. These are some of the ways we like to integrate the 6 principles, letting students experience new foods by smelling or touching them. It doesn't always have to be about tasting. Getting students feedback and thoughts around what they're tasting. We have our, with the tasting table, they get to vote whether or not they tried it, liked it, or loved it. Celebrating experiencing a new food, whether they enjoyed it or not, just the braveness it takes to try something new. We'd like to foster relationships with our kids and honor those relationships regardless of the food and how they interact around food, and build positive relationships with them, and also having students be able to choose their own experiences with their food and kind of guide that experience. Yeah, and I'll pass it back to Rebecca.
Great. Another thing we've been working on is more family and community engagement, and that goes along with one of the district's priorities to have more engagement. The students get to go out in these gardens, and we'd love to have more families getting to see the gardens on their school campuses and being more involved in our programs. So some of the things we've been doing is having a table often at the schools. So in the fall, we had some tabling at some of the like back to school family nights. We had Farm to School was there, and coming up on some of these spring things that are spring family nights that are coming, we'll be there, and we'll be out in the garden to have it open for parents to come get to see the garden. We're going to be at the Health and Wellness Fair coming up soon. We partner with other community organizations, just a way to be more involved in the community. We work with Family Nurturing Center when we work at Hanley Farm, so we have a lot of partnerships with other community organizations to help, kind of support and weave those webs of community. Been doing a lot of attending community events. Spring is very busy. Feels like every weekend there's something amazing happening in Phoenix and Talon and across the valley. So we've been tabling at a lot of events, and we'll continue to do that in May and June. There's a lot of things coming up. And something we've wanted to start, which we've talked about for a year or two, is having more community input. So we'd like to have more community listening sessions, and these are a chance for us to share a little bit about school food, because it is kind of complicated. It seems simple enough, right? You give kids food and they eat. Amy can tell you, and we can tell you there's a lot of regulations and there's a lot that goes into school food. So we're looking for opportunities to share with parents a little bit about kind of the complexities of school food, and also just to want to hear more from the families that go to school, what they want to see, what they value, what their priorities are in school food. School nutrition is really important to families, and so we want to know more about what people are looking for in school food. So we're going to do a community information and listening session in Talent at the Talent Library on May 22nd. So you all are invited, and from 6 to 7, and we'll be sharing out more information on that. This is like hot off the press, but we just found out we got a grant to do some family cooking classes. So next year, haven't even told anyone that from the district, but we'll be talking to you about how we can get the word out and support having some free family cooking classes for families in the Phoenix Talent School District. And lastly, this same grant also is supporting some family harvest meals. So our harvest meal is that field trip program that I talked about. It's really a highlight, and we've found over the years that the parents that get to come as parent chaperones, any of those people in this room, a couple of people that have come on our field trips, are always really amazed that we hear these comments like, wow, my kid just ate a radish. I've never seen them eat a radish, and they loved it. That was amazing. And so we'd really like to bring more, give that opportunity to more families. So we're hoping to have some of these family harvest meals where families together get to come out and the kids can kind of be the leaders and show off and show their parents around the farm and cook a meal together with their families. So we'll be sharing more about how that's going to look next school year. And just briefly, we are part of a statewide network. We're really lucky in Oregon. There's an Oregon Farm to School network, and Rogue Valley Farm to School is the education and the procurement hub. Some organizations are one or the other, and a few are both. And so Rogue Valley Farm to School supports anyone that's doing this kind of work and all the schools in Jackson and Josephine counties. So we have this bigger partnership with Phoenix Talent, but we support all the schools and trying to help them purchase more, helping them manage these grants, and also with some of the education. We just had a meeting last night with some schools that are starting new community gardens, school community gardens, and they looked actually at Talent as a model. It's at Jefferson Elementary School. They're starting revitalizing a garden there. So we support those kinds of projects throughout the area of new gardens and school gardens and other education type projects that are happening. Oh, got on there. And lastly, I just had to do a quick, you all are invited to our annual fundraising event, which is called Turn Up the Beat. And it's on June 29th. It's at Fry Family Farm, and there'll be amazing food and live music and kid activities. And it'll be lots of fun. And it's our main fundraiser. That money goes right to these programs that we do all in your school. And just to thank you all as the board for giving us this time. And I also want to invite you all as board members and student members to come to any of our programs. It's easy to walk out and you can come out to our gardens. But if you'd like to come to one of our farm field trips, we would love to have you and love to host you and show you around and give you the grand tour. So please just reach out to me. I'm up there. And if you go to our website, you can find all of our addresses. But if you ever want to come to a program, we would just love to have you. So extend that invitation, and thanks so much for giving us the time at this really busy meeting to present to you.
Thank you. I accompanied my daughter to one of the farm field trips. She tried a radish. She did not like it, but she tried it. Yes. Yes. Even with salt, she's a tough one. She's a tough one. All right, we're gonna take a recess. We'll be back here in 13 minutes. our next item on the agenda is the consent agenda. I'm going to make the motion for the consent agenda, and then, I'll explain why here in a second. I move to approve the consent agenda with a change to the item H1 of the agenda to move facilities and bond update before before the action items.
I second.
Okay.
Or
Thank you,
Rebecca
Don.
can second. I
Any-
can just be the cheerleader.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. Next item is facilities bond update. John?
Good evening, Chairman Campbell and board. I'm actually very happy to be here. I'm John McCaleb, Director of Facilities and Recipe Book Publisher. Recipe Book Publisher. Oh, nice. I've actually really enjoyed working with the kitchen staff. I've been looking at how their flow at each kitchen, along with the improvement, and it's been fun working with Amy Hans, trying to figure that stuff out. Anyhow, what I came to talk about was what? Am I not talking okay? Louder. Sorry, for me, it sounds like I'm talking really loud, so I apologize. Right? Maybe that's what I'm hearing it from, because it seems like it's really loud. Okay, we're deep in the planning for summer. I've been meeting with staff. In fact, I met with TES staff yesterday to talk about the seismic upgrades and the energy upgrades and everything that was going to happen. And it seems like they're very excited about that. And then we covered the process to pack for the move at the end of the year, and we've got all of our materials. Everything's actually being delivered on Tuesday because they plan to start Wednesday with packing the things that they aren't going to need the rest of the year. Next week on the 8th, I have a meeting set up with TMS to do the same. Theirs is less because it's the gyms, the cafeteria, and music area. That's what's being upgraded. The rest of the building, we're doing, what is it, 7,000 square feet of polished concrete, finishing up all the hallways, and then we're doing new flooring in 9 classrooms and just some additional framing stuff, all in-house. Well, we are also, in order to save the district money, and we have the ability now, we are doing all of the concrete polishing for the seismic upgrade. So the cafeteria will be doing, the primary hallway will be doing in-house. We'll have people on that all summer long. So it costs normally about $7 per square foot, and we're doing about 13,000 square feet. It will cost us about 40 cents per square foot plus the labor that we actually already employ over the summer. So it's a significant savings for the district. We're also, because of all of the schools having to, moving to PES, PHS, Orchard Hill, we are coordinating making summer school happen on our end as far as facilities, and then also these early learning projects, because we'll play a big part in helping set up the classrooms and helping make it function. The tennis court design is complete. We hope to be going to bid in June, starting the project hopefully end of summer and finishing by November. That's the timeline at this point. I'm also running that project myself. We were looking at doing a cooperative purchasing agreement like we did with the track and the turf. But the costs, I think I can save us money, so we're gonna explore that route. And PMS solar project design is progressing. We are targeting an August start date. And if you remember, that's the one that we got the $1 million grant for solar and battery storage at Talent Middle School. I'm also in the process of writing another solar grant for Talent Elementary and a second one for Talent Middle School to increase the battery size and solar array. Any questions?
So the tennis court construction this fall, are we still going to be able to use that entrance to athletics?
Yes.
Okay. Football gate, it's important, right? I don't really want to go around that gate again, let me just say, so.
No, I agree. Yeah, no, it will be fully functional.
Okay.
They will be accessing that area from that drive,
Mhm.
but their work's going to be in the field.
In the field, okay,
Yeah.
cool. Thank you.
Anything else?
This is a really important question. Will the tennis court have pickleball lines, or will it just be a tennis court?
I'll put blue tape up for you.
I haven't even played. I just know it's really popular, so.
You know,
we might.
actually, is Javier still here? Javier did a pickleball deal for staff. I mean, I wasn't there, but I saw all the tape.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to, yeah.
Yeah, I heard it went over really well. I heard
Yeah.
the staff really enjoyed it.
It's very popular, very accessible, apparently. Maybe I should take it up. Okay. Thank you, John. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
Thank you all for your support.
All right, action items. I1, science curriculum adoption. We're just turning this right over to Tiffany.
Yeah, last day meeting, Tiffany shared and sounds like, and I left early, but it sounds like I just appreciate her and what the process we have for curriculum adoption and just the thoroughness and everything. And if you have any questions, she'll be happy to answer them.
I don't have any questions. I commandeered the set so that I could look at it, and so cool. So cool. The chemistry utilizes cooking to talk about the chemical reactions between things. So I think that that's very relevant and relative. And I was so impressed that that was how you could learn chemistry. Because you think beakers and all of this, I don't know. I was impressed. And then I loved the physics. Tiffany and I talked about it too a little bit yesterday. I loved the physics component coming in early. I also appreciated that there was talk in there about how it really is culturally responsive as well for English language learners, because it's also all new vocabulary. A lot of it is new vocabulary for I don't know how to say this correctly, so I apologize, for native English speakers. Some of those terms are all new in this language as well. So I appreciated that it talked about language development, and I looked at the earth science things, and I was really impressed with how also easy it looked like to implement as a classroom teacher, that really gave lots of different tools and ways to implement it in class. So kudos to the team. Looks really fun. Can I go back to school so that I can learn more about science?
Thanks, Ian. And then I come up, I'm like, I will take the mic. So thank you, board. It was a nice process. And again, I thanked them last time, but really thanking our science teachers at the high school for going through it. And again, all the materials are available in Spanish, and we're only purchasing the digital. It's an easy switch between Spanish and English access. It's something that we've been checking again. And just a reminder, this does come with some changes to the science proposed sequence in high school, for which order they take science.
really starting with that physics and physical science in ninth grade. It's high interest. It's a lot of fun. It's not really abstract. And since we're doing digital copies, we can ebb and flow with the number of licenses for each grade level more easily than with paper materials on what we order each year. We can just order in a bulk and then choose how many physics, biology, and chemistry we need each year. So the publisher's been really flexible with us for that.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the science for the high school as presented.
Second.
Thank you, Polly. Thank you, Rebecca. Rebecca?
Yes.
Nancy? Sarah?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Polly?
Yes.
I vote yes. Science curriculum is approved. Good job. District transfer slots, 24-25.
Yeah, you have an updated form in your packets, and you'll notice that I think the most updated is we're even with some out slots and then also in slots, and you'll notice kindergarten's heavy on the out, and we're hoping to continue to reduce this, which is I believe it's a lower number than it was last year, and we're hoping to continue to reduce that with some preschool options that we have in our district as well. Many of those are hardships or childcare where they do preschool outside of our region and make connections and get free and affordable childcare with the connections they make. And so we're looking to get that approved for the out slots and the in slots. You'll notice we increased our incoming kindergartners, doubled that in anticipation of potentially having preschool as well. And we've already seen some of out-of-district kindergartners apply to come to our district. So that's exciting.
Okay, we have a motion.
I have a question. Do we want to do that after we do the motion? or before?
You can ask a question. Yeah, go ahead.
I was curious on the younger grades, on grades for transfer in, I should be specific, sorry, for transfer in 3 and 4 and 5 and 8, they're awfully small slots, like 3 and like the grade 3 and 4, there's already 2 requests. And so I was just curious why there's a big range, and I was curious why the range, and I was curious on, it looks like we're awfully close, and if we had a plan, if we got that.
Yeah, so these are the ones that don't qualify for hardships. We will accept hardships in there. And at this point, we have those are our highest classes, and we're looking at probably maybe some blends at the 2nd and 3rd grade level. And so typically when we get some of those, they can qualify for hardship, but we can increase those as well if the board chooses to do that, if they want to modify that.
I just didn't want to turn any students away that wanted to come to our district. But I also know the challenge of having to do blends and last minute and try to get the class to be the right size and all that. So I understand there's way more to it than just like this little sheet of numbers and let's have everybody in. But I was just curious if that was something that.
Do these have to be hard and fast numbers, or could someone in their motion say, move to approve the transfer slots and give the superintendent latitude to increase grades 2 through 5 to 10 each or something like that?
And typically, if our slots are open and we're having a request, there's probably more to the story, and we can have it qualify under a hardship just to get more information. We do that when they go out. We do that when they come in. But yeah, I mean, I think you can do that. The other thing I was saying, when you get approved for the district. So sometimes if they say, hey, I want to go to this school, if that might not be, we might not have the room at Phoenix Elementary or Orchard Hill. It might have to be to another school, and then they'll have to make that choice as well. We obviously it's all individualized. We want families to come into our district, and we want to make sure that they're getting the school they choose, and most of the time it works out. But if you want, I would recommend that we increase that number if we just move all the 3s to 5s. And then obviously we have that information and can probably qualify for hardships and others.
Would you like to make that motion, Don?
I'm not sure I can, but I will try. Let's see. I went to a different screen. I apologize. I move to approve district transfer slots for 24-25 with the change of moving the 3s to 5s.
The slots that have 3 incoming to 5.
Yes, the slots that have 3 up to 5.
I'll second.
Thank you, Don. Thank you, Sarah. Rebecca?
Yes.
Nancy? Sarah?
Yes.
Don?
Yes.
Holly?
Yes.
I vote yes. Slots approved. Item I3, resolution 23-10.
Yeah, let John go a little early, but he talked about this. We need the board's approval to apply for these grants, and this is something exciting for renewable energy. And we found out last week that this needed to happen before we could apply, and so we're asking the board to approve the resolution.
We don't need to read the resolution, right? Okay.
I move to adopt the resolution 2310 Community Renewable Energy Grant Program as presented.
I second that.
I should clarify. I hope you all read the resolution and that we didn't have to read it out loud tonight. Okay, any just
I just want, is the date correct? Should be 2410, not 2310? Did we just copy over from 23? No, it's supposed to be 2310. Okay, thank you.
yeah, we need to do more resolutions. We haven't had a resolution since last year.
No,
I'm disappointed. Oh, this is the 10th one this
one
year?
this school year, so that's why it's 23. Okay.
Yeah, it still seems a little light. Okay. Rebecca,
Yes.
Nancy, Sarah,
Yes.
Don,
Yes.
Holly,
Yes.
I vote yes. Recess, just kidding. Information and discussion. Legislative OSBA update.
I don't think I have anything to say. The only thing, all my meetings are done, and I'm like, woohoo! You all probably got an email from Ashland School Board about I contacted them and said I want to be in, but I want to make sure. So I'm not sure how we're going to do that. That's in August, but I think that is a very good opportunity for us to collaborate with Ashland, and I was very happy to get the email. And so I kind of threw Michael under the bus and said, I would like to go, but I need to talk to my chair and figure out the plan. And he will probably be sending an email, or I will, about reminding them we'll make a plan. But I wasn't sure how we wanted to do it. And I'm not really sure. They just changed the legislation. When you were doing certain events, you didn't have to worry about a quorum. And I don't know if this event qualifies as that. So that would be something that I could probably volunteer to look into.
That'd be great. Yeah.
But so that's something else as well. If we wanted to do it separate, or it might be good to do it. But I can ask OSBA. Then we're having an OSBA special meeting to discuss our executive director contract and PACE and so we're discussing that. I'll have that more information. It looks like Polly is helping me out. There's a PACE. I'm just gonna be honest. April was busy, and I got the flu in the middle of Sun River, and it's calving season, and I had traveled, and I just kind of dropped the ball. I'm just going to be honest. I dropped the ball. I saw the PACE stuff, and I'm like, yay, more PACE stuff. But, so what is it? School staff reduction?
Preparing for school staff reductions, May 16th at noon. a webinar. In our email, you have it.
Oh, and then Spencer's had his presentation, and I think that is online. Did you go to that, Sarah? Okay. I did not because I had a governance committee meeting with OSBA. By the way, we're changing in September. There will be a lot of changes to the bylaws, and there's going to be policy changes as well at OSBA as well. But if you guys want to talk about that, you can.
I'll just, we had a COSA meeting last Friday and really talked about the 2025 legislative session, and things that were really rising to the top that was pretty consistent is current service level, CSL. The way our state calculates those roll-up costs is pretty archaic, and especially with the employee agreements that are happening right now in our state. And so that is I think something that, COSA partnering with OSBA, OEA, OSEA, really, that determines what that starting number is in the 2025 session. So that's first and foremost. We've talked about that a lot. We've never kind of pushed it to the finish line. It's a current service level. That's not even QEM, which is more. I mean, this is just what number we're going to start with. So I think we need to talk about both, but if we don't have that starting number that's starts with an 11 instead of a 10, that's going to be pretty interesting. The other two things that were highlighted were special ed cap, really was talked about, and then that fully funding high cost disability. And so that is, and then the third, there's a bunch of not little things, but it wasn't as much of a consensus. Really looking at unemployment, which is huge, and some other things. But current service level and the special ed high cost disability and cap were the biggest things. So that might be in your discussions as well. You guys talk legislative 2025.
I just want to say too that PTA is actually pretty organized and has these really great webinars that they've been doing each month. And COSA is doing a presentation in May. And the first one was Senator Denbrough. And then the second one was John Rexford, who's the chair of the Quality Education Commission, was talking about the history of that and looking at revamping it, really. And so it was very educational. There are 2 openings on the Quality Education Commission if anyone wants to volunteer for the governor's task force on quality education. I thought that was super interesting. But very interesting that there's no staff funding given to this commission that allocates the largest part of the state school fund, that there's no staff support at the Department of Ed to support looking at this number, which is part of the reason why I think it's gotten so, and then the other question that I thought was very poignant from this recent presentation by Mr. Rexford was, we look at the cost of funding the quality education model, but have we looked at the cost of not funding it in how we're funding other programs that when we're not supporting students and what's happening on the back end of that and all of the other social services that we're having to increase funding for because the decrease in education funding. And so I thought that was a really great conversation as part of a larger conversation, and how students don't go to school for only one biennium. Don't they go to school for about 6+ biennium? So if you look at not just one biennium, what we're missing, but if you look over 7 biennium, there was some eye-opening things in this conversation. So I've really appreciated PTA putting together these conversations, and COSA and OSBA will be part of one in August. So really looking at all the partners coming together to advocate for a better starting number. What does it really mean and look like?
So how do you know about these meetings? Can you forward us something or forward it to Denise?
Yes, my plan was to do it last week
Okay.
to our region, and I dropped the ball. So yes,
That's okay.
I will do that.
And I'll just put a plug in for John. He is on the PACE board and he has an amazing resource. He has mentored me in some things and he's like one of my go-to people to call. And I've had several conversations with him and he is brilliant and he can give you a lot of information and a lot of history. And so if you're ever at PACE, I would be more than happy to introduce you. And I would recommend at least finding him because he is like a lot of knowledge. When you need like a little tidbit of knowledge, he's my tidbit of knowledge person.
Right, thank you. K3 Equity, Diversity and Inclusion Committee update. Thank you.
Yes. Okay. Good evening, board. Thanks for being here. Thanks for letting me take just a few minutes. I'd love to share a few things that we have going on. Tomorrow is actually our second annual Unity Conference. It's at Ashland, SOU Stevenson Hall tomorrow morning. It's started last year with our LGBTQ Student Success Plan grant that we share across a couple of districts. We are expecting 200 tomorrow, which is, I don't have the numbers from last year, but I want to say 50 to 75 more than last year. I think we had around 130. So super excited about that. That same organization, the same consortium's hosting a family night this year, which is not something that we tackled last year. It's really kind of a supporting youth and families of LGBTQ youth or families that are LGBTQ. We'll host that May 20th regionally, not just for our consortium districts. A lot of these things are really regional. You know, we welcome all in those opportunities. The last thing that our grant will do collectively is an in-person training. We're still getting back into that. A wonderful organization called One Circle. If you haven't heard of it yet, they have really wonderful materials. In fact, Rosario attended an excellent training. We're going to do the training that Rosario did online in person. It's called Mitigating Gender and Racial Bias, and it has a component of allyship as well. We're going to do that in person and hope to have at least 20 is our goal, but they have capacity for 50. Again, the focus is adults, staff, community. We can open it to community partners. I think it'll be a great opportunity to build some allyship and just shared capacity together. So really proud of that group. Like to give a couple of shout outs. Orchard Hill, Tara Jones and Jamie Cross and the RAPS team have really tackled some increase in racialized language. We've talked about that a little bit in terms of what we're seeing across some of our schools, and Orchard Hill has tackled it, and they created a lesson that they asked every classroom, every teacher at every grade level to do with their students in a developmentally appropriate way around words and race and just really setting some foundational expectations and conversation. And I'm really grateful for them to step in and do that. I wanted to give a shout out to Monique and Laura Millette. They tackled professional clothing for seniors to get some additional clothing today. Laura was out there almost all the morning. Monique's a fabulous organizer. So it I think served 11 to 13, got them ready to go with their senior capstone clothing today. Our health and wellness fair is coming up, second annual again. We're expecting over, like I would say, we're hoping for 400 or so or more. PES, Saturday, May 18th. Shout out to Katie. Our whole team does amazing, but really Katie is 1000% of the lift on the health and wellness fair. So shout out for that. Hoping for sunny weather. Please come by and have fun with us. Another shout out to Katie. Remember, we are having some employees go through the QMHA pathway to become medically qualified provider. And Katie will be our first one that has completed all the courses, the steps, the 1,000 hours of practicum, signed off with her mentor, which is a La Clinica therapist, and she's ready to take the exam. So we're really excited to have, just inching along in all of that. Last but not least, we have a really smooth transition happening so far with the Phoenix location, that FNC building that will transition to our preschool. We're super excited to make an official announcement of a teacher very soon after you all approve that, or after it comes to you to consider. But we're really excited about moving forward with our staffing. It's been a really smooth transition with Family Nurturing Center, and we're looking forward to that opportunity for our kids in the community. That's it for me.
Thank you. Any questions for Kelly? You got-
I have two.
Go ahead.
I'm so sorry. The first question is that project from Orchard Hill of the language sounds amazing. And I guess it's a two-part question. Is there plans to incorporate that into the other schools next year? And is it possible to show a sample for us as the board members?
Absolutely. Yes, it's in our newsletter that came out yesterday. And
I will read it. I'm slacking.
no worries, 100%. It's in our newsletter. And yes, I think this is a great example of a homegrown response that fits that school community, but could also be replicated or moved forward. One of the things that's on our agenda all the time, but on our professional learning agenda for fall as we roll out in service, is really an approach to the increase in bias and racialized language and slurs, and what that looks like in a developmentally appropriate way on lessons or instruction or tackling the subjects at each grade level district-wide, so that we're really sending some collective messages. I think this is a perfect example of how that could be done.
Thank you so much on that, Brooke. My second question is the senior project dress code. I've heard in the past, I don't know if it's still current, but that it's kind of outdated, what they expect students to dress, and their presentation isn't necessarily what is now used in professional. For example, a belt is needed, and a belt's not going to make or break a job interview nowadays. So has there been look to making the project dress code more equitable and more up to date so that students could be prepared and feel comfortable? Because I know some of the complaints was a belt, for example, is outdated, but also there's some students that have sensory issues with belts. And have we looked at making this more inclusive so that students, I mean, they've got to be uncomfortable anyway, standing in front doing presentations. And if they're dressed uncomfortable and fill in a dress that's not comfortable for them, have we talked about that and how we can make it so that when they go out to the workplace, because I think that's what we're trying to do, is when they go out to the workplace, they can learn how to do appropriately with what they have.
That's a great question. I'm happy to share that feedback with the high school and help support that. I know that we've called it professional clothing, and I'm quite sure that there are lots of ways that has happened for different kids. I can't speak specifically to the policy around the clothing, but I think I can definitely bring that forward for consideration going into next year. I think that's another place where community care, we're also making some plans on how to plan ahead when we're thinking about any unspent funds from ESSER. We want to kind of pre-purchase some professional clothing and such. And so that might be a conversation we want to have sooner than later.
Very good. Thank you so much.
Other
Oh
questions?
yeah, go ahead, Nancy.
So there was a discussion about gathering folks after they had gone to see the movie Origins, and I'm just curious where we are in that process.
We still need to do that.
Okay.
And part of that is trying to figure out the best way to have people gather and make sure we can capture anybody that attended. We still need to do that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Items 4 through 6 are policies that are there for review. Do we have any questions on any of those? I'm trying to be efficient suddenly. Okay. Great. Okay. Please let me know if you have any questions on those. We will take those up on the 16th. Speaking of the 16th, there is a draft agenda. Just a reminder, I've convened that special meeting, special listening session to take place before the regular meeting on the 16th. That means if we do have an executive session, we'll probably have to do that.
Yeah, when we will not plan to have an executive
Okay.
session, and it's absolutely necessary, but we will cancel that.
Okay. Okay, great. So that'll start at 5. Thank you for your latitude and patience with that. And I think that'll be positive. We'll get an update from Brent on just where we're at and an opportunity for him to share and address some of the concerns that were raised tonight. And then we'll have more opportunity to speak. I think we'll still need a time limit per person, and you know, we do have our regular meeting, so the whole session will need a time limit. But I think what might look a little different is an opportunity to ask questions and or you know, get clarification rather than just a one-way listening to public comment. So I look forward to that, and I believe that'll be positive. So go ahead.
I have a question. I'm sorry, I have so many questions. So, when you're doing questions from the audience and whatnot, do you have a protocol yet of what you're going to do? 'Cause
I meant someone speaking if we have a question of them. But I think we'll need to, we need to work on a protocol.
Because I was gonna
So,
say last time, during some tense times,
Mhm.
we have put the questions up on the website like a week
Mm.
or so after, and so I
Mhm.
was curious if that was something that you had planned to do, because I
Yeah.
think that worked out good that way. Well, and then when you answer someone's question, sometimes they ask another question, and then other people, we had such a big audience, I don't want people to
Yeah.
get the questions. So I think maybe having a platform like that, if you,
Mhm.
I'm not telling you what to do, but if you
No,
thought about
I-
that, that might be handy
yeah.
so everybody's voice can be heard. Because
Yeah.
sometimes when you answer questions, I know sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, you asked a long question and now that's
Yeah.
a long answer, and like 3 people might not get to speak.
Yeah, what I was thinking when I said that more was someone speaks and we have a question for them we would like clarification on. I do think it has the potential to lose order a bit if people are asking questions of us and wanting answers right there on the spot. So yeah, we'll be thoughtful about that for sure. Did you have something, Polly?
Just love what Don's saying about having it on the website. Even though people can watch a recording or something like that, I think it's important for them to be able to see it. And those that can attend, like we're hearing today that there's someone who has 2 jobs. They have to, you know, it's difficult for them, and maybe not, someone may not be able to attend. And that cuts down on the misinformation, because after speaking to a few of the folks, there is a lot of misinformation that is out there. And so I feel like that this is a chance for us to really get all that stuff honed in for sure.
I agree. Yeah.
I have a clarifying question. Are you asking for like a Q&A to be posted on the website? Is that what you're talking about, Paul?
Or FAQ or something
Oh,
like
yeah.
that.
Sorry, what did I say? Q&A?
Q&A, well,
Thank
yeah.
you. Yes.
Well, I think what Michael was saying is like what we did when it was the mask, I think, meeting, right? Where we had information on the website that had the question, and then it had detailed information. Kind of like when you don't know what's going on and you email Brent and you want him to explain what the heck's going on, that type of thing.
That stuff's still up there too, by the way, for your reading pleasure. Yep. Right. Did you have
Yeah,
some?
I was just gonna say, and we'll get a head start on that because we'll start having conversations here soon, and so we can have a running document on some sort of those things, and we could just add that information after.
And we might want to review what was sent to us before this meeting tonight that Denise compiled. So, in answering some of the questions that might show up in there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's, you know, through this administrative decision, this Brent's decision on what programs and where they're located. I do think it's important to bring clarity to that, but as you saw in the email I sent, I encourage the dialogue to continue because there are a lot of, I believe there's some misinformation and misunderstandings floating out there that need to be addressed. So, anything else?
Just, it's the opportunity to over communicate, which we
Mm.
have learned really is most helpful for everyone.
Yes.
And I was just gonna add, I think it helps with the frustration because sometimes a couple of them still said they had questions. And I know we don't have time and we all, like I was telling someone else, we all have a different voice and we all answer a question differently. It would take a long time. So I think just having the opportunity where they know that we will answer their question in the appropriate way and that they can all look at it and see, I think that's another way to make people feel like they're being heard and listened. They can go, oh, my question is up now. So I just don't, I want the frustration to go down. I'm one of those people pleasers. And so I think that might be a way to get the frustration down.
Yeah. And setting expectations ahead of time is helpful too, of what the meeting's gonna look like, what it is, what it isn't. Yeah. Yeah.
You're awesome, Michael. Thank you,
I
Brent.
appreciate
Thank you, Denise. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right, we are adjourned.